15 years.
Crap. Memorex? That's what you bring up?
I just remembered that line.
Memorex? That was good. Well, apparently a good commercial. Ingrained in you forever.
Forever. The child of the 80s. All those commercials.
You were a teenager of the 80s. How old are you, Scott? Tell everybody.
48.
Wow.
I'm not. I look a.
You look 58.
I feel 68.
Hey, at that point, you kind of catch up with Dutch, right? I mean, it works.
Such a sprightly. What are you
woke him up. He
talking
was
about?
taking his.
So he's
afternoon.
walking me around his shop, and he gets very excited to show off his mounds and mounds of tools. And so he starts walking and talking faster and faster and faster. I can't keep up. And I'm
That's very much been my experience with you at ToolTech 2021. Hang on, we're gonna have to stop. I'm gonna hold up. I have to get
I
back.
have short, stubby legs. Lucas over here, statuesque Lucas, walking
we were
at
walking-
a normal pace, but he's such a long stride that me and my short, stubby legs are flying back and forth just to keep up.
Gonna start a fire with those pants rubbing together, is trying to keep up.
Are you calling me fat, Scott?
No, I'm just saying your legs are moving fast.
The chafing, my God, the chafing. To all of our viewers, you see, this is what happens when you've been at an event for 3 or 4 days. You get very tired, and David gets
No,
ridiculous.
this has been energizing. I didn't find it tiring at all.
It really wasn't. No, I mean, it was really neat. And you know, especially some of the conversations we got to have. The conversations with the manufacturer at lunch today. I don't want to, we won't share their information, but that was,
There's no book.
yeah, that was really,
That was fascinating. Yeah.
Dutch
You
was-
almost have to stop and not bitch so much. Like I was talking about the Chevy Volt. And we were fixing a cooling system problem on the Chevy Volt, and I was looking for a theory of operation. Because they have one for the engine, they have one for the hybrid battery. I think that I don't remember exactly, but I think there's some intermingling. But this particular overflow is for the engine, and this one is for the hybrid battery. And if this is wrong, then you got to go over here and this that. Anyway, I'm looking for a theory of operation. I couldn't find it. I was just getting so frustrated. I'm like, why don't they just explain how ideally it's supposed to work? That this is supposed to send coolant here, and then it's supposed to cool this, and then pick up and transfer heat over here. Why don't they explain it? And we found out today that there is no book.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't even write their own
Right.
the manual at all. Like, it's not coming from the engineers. It's some writer who doesn't know anything about the vehicle, and they're trying to translate the information. Who was it that said that? They're trying to make it understandable for the mechanic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've heard that 3 times this week.
Yeah.
We've heard that 3 times. And you know, what was interesting about the conversation we had this afternoon is that the manufacturers find themselves in a very similar position because it's not really their module. They didn't design it. They didn't write the software for it.
They're just
buying
buying the module
it.
from
And,
somebody.
and that person, just like we assume that the manufacturer doesn't want us to have this information because the reality is the manufacturer doesn't have that information
They don't know
because
either.
somebody doesn't want
Yeah.
them to have it.
So it's a giant cluster. In other words, we're all screwed.
Dutch, what do you think?
That what?
Jeez, moving on. Scott Palava, how you doing?
Well, I am doing fantastic. How are you guys doing?
We're here.
Let's talk about Memorex for a second here.
Let's not.
I remember Memorex cassette tapes. I went to high school listening to Memorex cassette tapes.
You had your own mixtapes you were
I
doing?
had my own mixtapes, yeah.
What were you listening to?
Throwing Copper by Live. Fantastic album.
Right.
Soundgarden, Pearl Jam.
Right. And now you've moved to talk radio.
Not
Help
talk
us-
radio.
help us
I don't do a lot of talk radio.
Help us understand how this transition happened.
You know what I've been listening to like crazy is, I want to make sure I say this app correctly, is Blinkist? Blink? Do you know what I'm talking about, Lucas?
Not a clue.
Never heard of it.
Blinkist. So what they do is they take a book, and and you'll listen to authors say this this type of stuff all the time. They'll say, well, I can't sell 30 or 40 pages for $20. And so the publisher, they want fluff. So they got to fill the book up with fluff. But they only have like so many points, and the points are like very condensed, and so they sort of fluff around it, and they turn into 240 pages. And then, so what this app does is they take the fluff out, and they condense the entire book down into 6 to 9, sometimes 10.
Now, have you talked about this
ideas.
before? I remember this subject, but I can't remember if it was you talking about it.
You don't listen to the podcast, Scott, so I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, so
What do you mean I don't listen to it? I'm a patron, for Christ's sakes. As soon as it comes out, I listen to it.
oh yeah, he did the live video. He was like, on Saturday nights, I listen to
Yeah.
I do it when I listen while I'm mowing the grass. I put my headphones on and mowing the grass, or going for a walk with the dog, or sitting in the hot tub.
Now I feel bad. Anyway, so I downloaded this app. I think my wife told me about this ages ago. I didn't do anything with it. But I downloaded this app, and in 15 minutes you get through a book. For example, Greg Buckley suggested Thou Shalt Prosper. And I listened to the Blinks this morning.
Nice.
It was very good.
How long does it take to get through?
15 minutes, and you're done with the book.
Man, that's awesome.
And you can go back and listen to it a second, third, or fourth time. What? I'm annoying him. I don't understand.
You always annoy him. You just now
Your
picked on-
presence.
There comes a certain time in your life when you realize that everything that's old is new again. And you're delighted that you discovered this, as if a baby discovers his toes for the very first time, or perhaps his pee-pee. Back when I was going... Back when I was attending school, we used to walk into what was known as stationery stores, where you had textbooks, and there was a smaller book, a pamphlet known as Cliff Notes.
That's because
Hold on,
they were
hold
made
on.
of stone. They came off the face of the cliff.
First off, I'm not going and buying random Cliff Notes that I have to sit down and read. And I'm not getting through the Cliff Notes in 15 minutes. And
Because you're a slow reader and your mouth moves when you read. They make audibles of this as well. It's like you've just discovered, oh my God, they've summarized some printed material and I got to listen to it. Oh, hallelujah. But that's not anything new.
Wrong one, David. Wrong one.
the app is not new. I don't know how long they've been around. There's no Cliff Notes app, is there? Let me ask.
Is that a free app or is that a pay app?
No, you gotta pay for it.
Okay,
Anything
well,
worth
I'm
anything has to be paid for. You know that.
Anything worth anything has to be paid for. That explains so very much
Doesn't
of
it,
your
though?
life, really.
It really does.
What? People expect things for free, and they're like, well, if you're gonna get it for free, it's not worth anything.
In all seriousness, Dutch.
There's a Cliff Notes test prep. So yeah, I get Cliff Notes of what? Romeo and Juliet? It's not the same thing.
You're missing the point. It sailed clearly over your reflective dome.
I subscribe for a year.
Here, hold your hand up behind your head. He can say it again. It'll hit it, run down.
Yeah, it's all right. It's just gone completely over.
I did that. This second time I heard you say it, I'm like, where are you going with that?
I'm gonna take a alternate opinion that if something is free, that it's not worth anything, because why are we all sitting here? Because we're all part of ASOG. ASOG is free.
Yeah.
Is it not
It
worth
is
something?
not free. It is not free.
Yeah.
Facebook is absolutely taking all of your information and creating metadata around it and selling it to people. What? It's not free.
Okay.
Listen,
All right.
You're giving up privacy. You're giving up your personal information to be able to scroll through the app and see random. Don't you turn it down. I'm right.
Here's
Okay, it's not
the
free.
here's the thing.
Okay.
What you learn after a few months of recording with David is there are landmines. And what you
I
have
feel like I'm walking around the yard and I forgot to pick up the dog crap.
welcome to my life. Every Wednesday night, this is what happens. I mean, this is exactly what my life is. So
You know I'm right.
Say again?
You know I'm right.
About what?
Facebook isn't free. You're paying something for it.
I will agree with you
Well,
on the fact that you are giving something up, but from a monetary
Just shoot me now,
standpoint.
Lucas, will you please? Let's get this.
Dutch, I would, but I didn't feel like traveling with my companion. And so the whole shipping process and you know,
This is a free state. They will let you walk in the door.
But you got to get it up.
you got to get
Waiving
it.
it if you want to.
You got to get
plane.
it on the plane and get it here, and that's just that's
Yeah,
a
but
lot
you're-
of work.
No, it's not. You're not flying into New York. Well, you'll get arrested in New York. For
You
bringing it
realize
into the
there
state.
is a process you have to follow to accomplish.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay. Dutch,
There
seriously.
are pictures when you walk up to the gate. And it says, "Please don't bring loaded guns to the check-in gate."
What you know? You're the one with the most experience in the crowd. You've been doing this the longest, and
That's a polite way of saying, man, you're old.
yeah, I know. You know this is probably you've been to a lot of industry events, but this is probably one of the first ones like this you've been to.
Yes.
What's your takeaway?
Well, quite candidly, I'm encouraged by a lot of what I saw.
Yeah.
Because we had the panel and engaging the room, and from the information that I was told by others and same information you were told, people were genuinely interested in our perspective because they seldom actually get to hear it.
Yeah.
And once they understand what our challenges are, and that our challenges are in many respects absolutely intertwined with theirs,
Yeah.
well, that makes a lot of difference. I mean, I met a lot of people I've heard about over the years that I hadn't met before, and I've established through networking connections so that we can continue the dialogue.
Right.
That's what's really important. It's not enough, there was a manufacturer here whose quality has been questionable in recent years.
Right.
So I just walked up and spoke to him and gave him my email address and said, look, what can I do to help you?
Yeah.
Let me tell you about my experiences, direct me to the right people, because it's not enough to just complain.
Right.
ABC 1, 2, 3 stinks. Okay. Well, if you're an end user, you have a responsibility to help them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think every time I come to this event, in particularly, is that it's really easy to overlook that they are very much in the same position we are, right? We're all fighting the same battles, right? They are fighting a little bit different battle, but they have the same struggles we have. They are genuinely looking for solutions. They're genuinely interested in helping us. They're genuinely interested in working together.
I don't think you realize that, though, until you show up.
Right. No.
You're listening to the conversations they're having, and you're talking to them, and you find out that, oh, crap, they're dealing with a lot of stuff on the back
Yeah.
end. You're complaining about it, and you're thinking that their perspective or their position is a certain way, and it's not.
Right. You're thinking they're intentionally causing this scenario.
Well,
Scan tool access,
yeah.
vehicle access, whatever it is.
Complacency, negligence, or it could be malicious. That's what you start to think, and then you find out it's not the case.
One of the conversations I heard today was they were meeting with an OE. There was two companies that were meeting with an OE, and they were trying to figure out what was going to be the best way. Who needs to get in first with the OE to back up the other one's equipment.
Right.
Or so they could work together.
Yeah.
And it was when it was all said and done, he says, "Yeah, we had a highly unproductive meeting because the OE said, well, you guys have to figure it out. We're not
Right.
going to tell you how to do it." Which, okay, that's fine, but they shouldn't have even met with the OE originally. They needed to figure that out amongst themselves. But at least all three of them were in the room, and they were able to
Yeah.
get talk about that.
Right, and I think that was one of the things, like I said, and we kind of started the conversation, or started until David went on one of his rants. We started this talking about an OE, and this OE basically said, you guys think that we have the answers. You think that we have the ability to tell you what you want to know. Just because we're the manufacturer, and in this case, they basically came out and said, hey, look, you look at us like we're the manufacturer, but that's not always the case. We don't have the information you want any more than you have it. Just because we have our name on it doesn't mean that's our data or our information to give you.
They were the final assembly location.
Right.
That's what they
But
were.
there's
No. They said that they were buying the vehicles from the parent company, and they were the sales and marketing team
Right,
for
okay, yeah.
the USA. And they were just pumping cars out into the market, and that's it. And so we're complaining to them as though they have the answer, and they're like, I don't know. We don't have the answer either. We don't know.
Yeah. And I mean, that
but they have to have the resources to obtain the answer. And
They
if
don't always have the resources. He talked about that too.
Well, you have to understand, it's not only what he said, but what he didn't say, right? All right, so if you're a company, ABC123 Automotive, and you want to produce a car and you need a module to be made, you specify what that module is going to do to the module manufacturer. You have to give us criteria, specifications, all of that. At that point,
Cut that out.
what's necessary is you can't absolve yourself of any responsibility of knowing how the thing works, because it's set up to your specifications. And
Yeah,
then
but-
turning to that manufacturer, ice melts, honey. That's why it's not in the glass.
No, it's not that. It's
All right, you're looking down in the glass,
plastic-
like, where did it go, mommy?
the
It
pla-
melts, sweetie. That's what happens.
the plastic ring around the bottle fell into my cup. I'm watching the plastic ring falls in. I'm like, what the crap? You gotta be kidding me.
the facial expression he made, I was watching on camera.
I'm so upset by
What are you
this.
afraid you're going to suck it up through the straw when you drink it?
I don't know where that plastic ring. It's on the outside. I don't know where the
Yeah, because
bottle
you
is.
touched it. Yeah, that's
They
right.
don't
Yeah,
wear
you don't know where your
masks
hands
here
have
in
been.
Texas. This thing could be loaded with coronavirus.
Oh,
look
never
at that.
again could you do that.
Terrible shot.
So,
Yeah.
I think that it brings a realization that maybe as an aftermarket we have these thoughts and these ideas of the way things are, and that's not always necessarily the case, though.
Right, but
Right.
the fact is that you couldn't buy a 737 from Boeing and say, okay, I want to know how the flaps work.
Right.
And them telling you, well, look, we didn't design the system, right? We
Right.
didn't manufacture the jack screw for the elevator. We didn't do any of that, so we can't give you the information. It's expected. So
Right.
while this sales and marketing division might not have that information, okay, I can see
Right.
they should have a link whereas they can get it, where the response would be, that's a great question. I don't know that, but let me call so-and-so or email so-and-so to find the answer for you, because it's in their best interest to do that. Otherwise,
Hold on,
they're
no,
just,
they talked about that too. And he said sometimes it's not that simple. Sometimes it's getting hold of the chassis department. But then you get a hold of the chassis department, and the chassis department says, you know what? Bob worked on that. Bob's not here today. Or Bob quit 3 months ago, and Bob went to work for the competitor. Bob doesn't work here anymore. Do the best you can. We'll try to reverse engineer. He said that. He has to reverse engineer certain aspects of it because they're not getting some of the details. And then even if you get the schematics of how it was built and then, now you don't know why that component failed. They're like, I don't know, design this is the way it's wired up. I don't know why it failed, but maybe we can talk to Bob or Bob's replacement. And Bob's replacement doesn't know. And that's what it comes down to. It's like sometimes it's just a matter of, you got to put your head down and figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, something else that came up throughout the topic of conversation over the last couple of days was this idea of what is the term you would use, a virtual technician or a virtual
Yeah, it's
master?
augmentation.
Right?
Yeah, it's augmentation. BMW, as we discussed, tried this many years ago, and he gave reasons why that wasn't successful. But yeah, you would have, and if you think about it, it's essentially the same thing that you would have with a lead tech who's at a shop or a foreman, and now you're dispatching a bunch of B techs, and that foreman goes to the B tech and says, okay, here's the problem, take this off, move that. When you're done, I'll be back, and he goes around, and now ultimately, the guys are basically following the instructions of someone else off-site who's telling them what to do using these goggles. And to make sure that nothing goes wrong, they can, as he said, encircle or draw a circle around the bolt or the component that needs to be removed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Recognizing that the number of technicians entering the field is dwindling.
Right.
Yeah,
It's not even
that's
the
a-
number, it's the number of skilled technicians.
Yeah, so this is a way for them to get around that by basically having hired hands. And from a business perspective, that can save a tremendous amount of money in labor cost.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I'm gonna.
The problem though is that they still don't pick up those small nuances. Because if you think you're going to take somebody untrained and say, hey, take that top panel of that dashboard out, and they take a screwdriver and shrink,
Well, they'll show them initially how to do it. I mean,
use a
even,
nylon prying tool, but they still don't get that feel
They
of
don't
that
feel,
this is
yeah.
about to break. Like that doesn't come
but
without
does
experience.
Does this come down to, and one of the reasons they were talking about that is that the systems for this particular line were so advanced, right, that the technology was beyond, like what's coming is beyond anything that we could even imagine, that you almost need the person who either designed or someone extraordinarily advanced with that knowledge of that system
Yeah.
to be present to say, hey, here's what you're experiencing. Here's how it thinks and why it thinks that way. Now we need to back off from this,
Yeah.
right? Or as they said, don't touch that wire,
Yeah.
right? Don't touch that. So, I think that leads to some bigger questions down the road. Is technology going to get so advanced it becomes difficult for us to manage? Is that something that we've got to think about?
initially, and then it's going to become easier.
Right.
It's not the advancement of the technology, it's how much it's changing and how quickly it's changing. So, and like the gentleman said who did the keynote, who's buzzing?
That was me.
What are you doing here? The gentleman who
That
had
was
the
an
keynote.
awesome keynote, by the way.
So he talked about how in the 70s when they started introducing fuel injection, he said, or when they introduced the CAFE standards, they said, well, we're taking existing technology and we have to tweak it to make it more efficient. So we're just going to tweak until we hit the numbers that we need to hit. That's not what's happening here. This is a fundamental shift of propulsion. It's no longer an internal combustion engine, no longer exhaust, no longer transmissions. Now
Yeah.
we're moving towards a completely different type of propulsion. So you have to completely learn everything anew. And
Yeah.
so now you have to think, well, what if EVs don't take and they decide they're going to go with some other direction? What if it is fuel cell technology? Whatever happens to be. 20 years from now, if they're switching every few years, 5 to 7 years, they're changing technology or they're advancing, and so the changes are happening faster than we can keep up with. I think that ends up being the bigger issue.
And there's also an issue for those people or those vehicles that are produced. If it is EV and it gets switched, there's going to be a whole lot of stuff that if nobody is qualified to work on it now because it's new, There'll be a short window that they're going to have experience, and then the new stuff's going to come out. You're going to have people that are able to work on the old stuff, the EVs or whatever they are. It's the same thing right now. You don't have anybody to work on a carburetor, and there's still a lot of them out there.
Absolutely.
Maybe in rural Minnesota. When was the last time you saw a carburetor?
I see them from time to time.
Yeah, they're far more common than one might think.
In that keynote,
No chance.
there was a slide called. In that keynote, there was a slide called "The Gathering Storm," and it was from Mr. Toyota, and it says a crucial battle has begun, not one about winning or losing, but one about surviving or dying. That the world itself, as far as automotive, has changed, and for an organization like that to take that perspective,
Yeah.
it's pretty clear that there's a my gosh,
That's not me.
We're good.
we're good.
I turned my ringer off, but my watch started ringing.
Just like this one. It was. Oh, it's just my phone or my watch.
But I think that we definitely have some changing tides, right? And we got to prepare for that. I mean, it is definitely going to change over the next few years, right? And we've got to adapt. We don't have a choice. But now,
Don't sell your ADOS machine.
no, do not sell your ADOS machine. That was another big takeaway for me is the episodes about ADOS, and man, Dirk today. I mean, that
He brought it. It was good.
Talking about the EVs, some things that a lot of us had never even thought about, and the way that the way that Europe handles technician certification, and especially safety issues in shops. That was a whole different thought process, and it's something that I think we, David always fusses about regulation. Maybe that's a way to look at it,
No.
I'm not saying regulation. I'm saying the insurance companies.
But he had a solution that didn't involve regulation.
I know, that's what
So I commend him.
Yeah, that was
That's why
awesome.
we wanted to have him on.
That was really awesome. Yeah, advanced driver awareness, just so we're all on the same page. They're not all going to dynamic calibration. And even
Static is here to stay.
and even if they were, you couldn't get some of them to calibrate. So you're going to have
Yeah.
to.
Who said that? You're not going to do it in Brooklyn?
That would have
Was
been,
it Chuck? No. Yes.
yeah, I can't remember. We've talked to a lot of people. You're awful.
Good thing we have them recorded.
That's it.
We can just go back and listen.
That's it. Yep, absolutely. Dutch is playing on his phone. I can see it very clearly.
I think he's
That's
setting an
because
alarm so
you
you can take a
gave
nap.
the wrong words for the ADAS, but all right, I'll let you slide.
What did I say?
It's Advanced Driver Assistance Systems.
Oh, okay.
What did you say? Accident determination.
No, advanced driver awareness or something like that. Oh,
Advanced
He just
driver
made
awareness.
something up.
yeah, I always make stuff up. Haven't you figured that out yet?
I don't know the acronyms. That's why I just say
If it was advanced driver awareness, we
Yeah,
wouldn't
but if I
need it,
just said
because
ADOS,
they'd be far more advanced or far more aware.
it
Oh,
could be
we're
like
heading down a
electric-
rabbit hole now. Does anybody know the definition of the word tangent? Okay, because you're on one. Can we stick to the topic at hand, please?
And what
Thank
is
you
that?
very much.
He doesn't listen to the podcast.
no, of course he doesn't. He couldn't. He would.
All right,
he
I
would
don't
stroke
listen
out.
to the podcast. That's the reason why I was able to write it in the comments that I wasn't outside the room lurking. And I don't have problems getting toilet paper, unlike you. Which, by the
No,
way,
no,
just
no,
so
no,
that you
no.
know,
I was
happen to have
advocating for you.
45. I have 45 to 50 Q-tips up in my room. All you needed to do is ask me, you tight ass, and I would have given you some Q-tips.
Did they have them laid out for you by the hotel
didn't
ready
have
for
mine
you?
laid out.
They were individually wrapped.
They were not.
They were individually wrapped Q-tips, compliments of Marriott. I didn't get jack.
I was gonna say Lucas didn't see him because you grabbed him off the counter as soon as you walked in there.
Yeah, that's probably what happened. And his ice. My God, he's the only person who has been able to get ice. Every time you go to that ice machine, it's empty because he got it all.
Well, because there's only one ice machine in the whole building.
Oh,
It's on the 7th floor.
Is it seriously the only one?
I don't know. I just know there's one.
the only one I
know
know.
there's one on the 7th floor. That's the closest one to me.
Yeah.
It melts by the time you get up to the 26th.
Yeah,
It does melt a little fast. Even the Yeti's not keeping it. I don't know what it is. It's not that warm in here.
Yes, Scott was
Well,
over there turning my air conditioner.
Scott turned the temperature up because he said he was cold.
Oh, my
the
God.
guy from Minnesota was here chattering with
Minnesota?
his teeth.
What is wrong
Came
with
in here,
you?
it was like you could hang meat in here.
We
So
can't take these two anywhere.
I know. Listen.
You
I'm
have to, otherwise you're going to have to pay for your own meal.
Listen, we wanted to pay for our own
Of
meals.
course you did.
We tried. And look, all I'm going to say is thank you because I don't want to get hit across the top of the head on a live stream. Look, I mean, at the end of the day, I've got to kick the hornet's nest. Right? You going to be mad at me if I kick the hornet's nest?
We're going to talk about coronavirus?
No, I'm not going to talk about coronavirus. I don't listen. That's just you ranting for 30 minutes.
You said the hornet's nest.
No, I'm going to kick the other hornet's nest. I'm going to
The
ask,
election?
No, I'm definitely not talking to you about that. I'm going to ask Dutch what he thinks about the NASTA situation.
No comment.
I don't. He hasn't gotten to anything yet.
No, I just want to know.
We've had a good conversation about it. I'm a little bit more informed than I was before,
Right.
but that's it.
Yeah.
That's not the hornet's nest.
With Dutch, it's the hornet's nest.
It's not the
No,
hornet.
it's not.
It's
It's not. I don't think it is.
It is.
Dutch has got some questions he wants answers to.
That's
it's not,
all.
It's not accusatory.
Well, I'm just curious. That's why I was asking. Did you get any answers? Did you talk to anybody about it?
No,
Didn't talk to anybody about it.
no, because I need people to be focused on the subject at hand. This is a serious subject. I don't want distractions, and I'm going to want some one-on-one time where I can ask the questions in a respectful manner and get answers. They may not be, and I'm not looking for anyone to agree with me, or I don't care. What I want to have is the answers laid out in a clear, concise fashion. And if any conclusions that I have at this point are wrong, I'll happily say so. But there has to be explanations, because right now I have a lot of questions and the answers are not forthcoming. I'm only seeing one side of an argument, and that certainly is nowhere near sufficient to arrive at any sort of conclusion. Once I have the answers to the questions, then I'll be able to form a conclusion based on all the information that I've gathered.
Right.
Until that time,
I think it's important to note too. You're not saying anybody's withholding any information.
no,
No.
absolutely.
I just want to make.
Absolutely
I want to make
not.
sure that that's
Absolutely.
clear.
This is not in any way, shape, or form anything in my view that's nefarious. Nobody is deliberately withholding information. None of that. I think that this has been a fairly busy conference, and people's time is limited.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, people are running back. You guys have been very, very busy doing the podcast, scheduling people in and out and stuff. There just isn't, there's only so many hours in a day. And it's a subject that's this serious, in my view, is one that requires perhaps a little bit more time than would be allocated in a venue such as this.
Yeah.
And he didn't want it to cut into his poolside time.
That's it. Well,
That
Poolside
wasn't
time?
the hornet's nest. That was underwhelming. Thank you, Lucas.
Yeah, there was
Well,
nothing
I almost
there.
fell asleep.
well,
Well, you wanted to fall asleep
You wanna-
anyway.
you
You're up
need-
there,
It worked
so you
out.
You
interrupted the
ruined
nap.
that. You ruined that.
You
You
know,
ruined that.
there's
I
nothing.
usually do. Are you not used to that by now?
There's nothing.
Let's talk about coronavirus.
I don't want to talk about coronavirus.
There's nothing.
Speaking of it being a busy event and everybody's time, I mean, I think there's some big things that happen at this event. I think if you were a tool manufacturer, if you were an auto manufacturer, I think this is probably where you would need to be.
Yeah, I could certainly hope that in next year, when the travel limitations are lifted and that people feel much better about traveling, that there are more people that attend. Because from what Brian told me, it was only about half of the tool manufacturers that were here in 2019 were currently, or
Yeah.
at the venue in 2019 were.
Well, they were doing a hybrid, so
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
them were participating virtually.
Yeah.
But it's difficult to have those conversations. We made unbelievable connections here.
Yeah.
People you already knew, but I got introduced to people I didn't know, and we were able to get a ton of great information, valuable information that I think shop owners and even technicians absolutely needed to know.
Yeah. And you know, I think I think their organization connects the tool manufacturers in such a way that they really allow them to bring a different level of value to shop owners. And I think it really shows after coming to this event. This will be the second time I've come. After coming to this event, they really do care about our perspective of their products. They really do care that we're getting the information we need and providing a good product, just like we want to provide a good product. You know, we want to properly repair automobiles. We want to give our clients a great experience. They want to do the same thing.
Well, you know, the other thing too that they also care about too is the things that we're worried about.
Yeah.
You know, the technician shortages and the access to information. I mean, those are been
Yeah.
conversations that we've had, informal conversations the whole week.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you would have ever have told me before this, we arrived here, hey Dutch, you're going to wind up meeting with a major component original equipment manufacturer, and that original equipment manufacturer is going to agree and pass along the idea that shop owners should have better financial literacy,
Yeah.
better business training, I would have been floored, because there's no way I would have thought that they'd be remotely interested, but they understood the bigger picture. is that
Absolutely.
If shop owners have the financial and business training, then they're going to be able to remain customers. A shop that's closed down can't buy parts.
Yep.
But this is the first time, and I've been in the industry a long time, that any manufacturer of this stature has said, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's see about putting something together.
Yeah. And having a genuine interest in it.
Yep.
Not lip service. I mean, genuine interest in making things better. Right. And I think that's what amazes me every single time. I've said it already, but I think it's important to say it again. They really do care. They're not just out here just trying to make a buck. I mean, they are literally trying to do what's best for their industry. Dutch, what'd you think of the Denso product? What were your thoughts on that?
Well, obviously, I'm smitten with it because I was the one who submitted the question that said, can I get more than one of these for my shop? Because
Right.
what I want is, I'm not certain if I'm going to give it to the techs or to the writers, but I'm going to have at least two or
Right.
more of these MRIs. What a great
Yeah.
tool.
Yeah. And when we first started talking about it, I was sitting there thinking Dutch is going to say, this is snake oil, right?
No, not if it's backed by science.
Right. Well, and that's what I was getting ready to say, is that product is truly backed by, true data, right?
Yeah.
A true analytical system that says this is how this works.
And
right?
it's not predictive, which
Right.
is, it just says this is functionality, range of function, this is what you have.
Yeah.
Okay? I look at it as, there are certain battery testers that we know that are on the market, and we may have at one time had or still have, that if a battery is over 2 years old and you test it, it says it fails.
Right. Right.
It doesn't matter what it is, that battery is going to fail, replace battery. This is a major manufacturer who's working just to give a state of health.
Yeah.
And you don't have to sell anything from it.
Yeah.
You can advise and be an advocate for your client and say, hey, look, based on this, we're seeing that X percentage of functionality isn't really working.
Right.
We want you to keep that in the back of your mind. We're going to plant the seed that this may be coming up in the future, and maybe you ought to budget accordingly. Now you're doing a service, and you're not trying to push an upsell.
Yep. Exactly. Providing service.
Providing a service that helps prevent them potentially from getting stuck on the road or being inconvenienced at obviously the worst possible time.
Exactly. Exactly.
I always say every time the vehicle comes in, it's like when you go to the doctor, regardless of what your condition is, they have a series of tests. And you might not be complaining about something, but they might find something
That's
because
it.
of those tests are there.
That's it.
They managed to find my wallet, I'll tell you that.
David?
Hey, don't ask him, he's on his phone.
It's Mental Health Awareness Month. I didn't know if you knew that.
Really?
It is.
That's a, hey, look, you can pick and make fun all you want. That's a serious issue.
It is a serious issue.
A lot of people deal with that.
Yeah.
Well, y'all, anything you want to say? Closing it up, packing it up, taking it home?
This is going to be an episode by itself. What do you want me to do with this?
I don't know. What do you want to do with it?
I don't know.
You're so indecisive.
Well, I don't know. It's okay.
It's going to end up on the cutting room floor.
More than
It's
likely.
going to end up on the floor. Unless we talk about something serious.
Is there anything serious to talk about?
There's lots of serious things to talk about. But we'll just leave it at that.
What kind of crap is that?
Foreshadowing and its worst.
What kind of cop-out is that? Oh, there are many serious topics of discussion.
Well, we'll see you guys later.
Well, say you, but I'm tired and you almost interrupted my nap, so
We were just topic blocked.
that's right.
Topic blocked.
Oh, wow, I just got a message. This is great.
You got a message?
Yeah.
Come on.
Great session with Frank Choi today. They were actually a beta tester for that device. Really interesting information there.
They used the product. Did they not like it? Is this Gary Keys again? You're not going to say.
I'm not calling anybody out.
Dutch, I'd be upset with you if you had this, something like the Denso thing, and didn't bother to tell me about it. I'd be upset. You didn't say anything.
I don't have.
Maybe they were sworn to secrecy. I'm
think-
going
I
to give
don't-
them the benefit of the doubt.
See, I'm not a beta tester, and the reason that I'm not a beta tester for pretty much any company is because they don't really want to hear what I have to say if I don't like it.
No, they want to know.
No, they really don't. I'm a lot older than you. I'm a lot more experienced in
What's
this.
the point of beta testing if you don't want to know,
Because most of the time when
as long as it's constructive. I mean, if you're just going to poo-poo the entire thing, then okay, then maybe we don't select you.
I'm not politically correct, David. If I think the thing is a piece of crap.
Hell far,
I will
Dutch,
tell
you
them.
ain't even correct. But
I'm a lot further right than you are, kid.
yeah, and David's a whole lot further left than all of us. But
Ooh, if looks could kill. You hear that? That thud is Lucas falling out of the chair, his head careening against the tape. Yeah. I run into this my whole life. People want to know, as long as what you're going to tell them is going to be complimentary or reaffirm what they believe, then they want to hear it.
Constructive.
There are very few things that you can actually, you use this tool, we're going to pretend. We're going to use tool XYZ. And you said it would do thus and so, but it doesn't do thus and so. I can't tell you why it doesn't do thus and so. I'm not an engineer. I didn't design it. I didn't engineer it. I didn't manufacture it. I didn't write the code for it. It just doesn't work.
You gotta turn him down. Hurts my ears.
That's because you want to go sleep.
okay, well,
No, we're gonna be up. It's almost dinner time.
that's it. And so what I'm gonna do is
Wait a minute. I'm the guy who eats at 4:30 in the afternoon
I gotta
because
get
guys
up.
my age.
Hey, what
but-
time are we leaving tomorrow? Because you have a flight at what, 6?
6 o'clock.
Yeah, so do
So
I.
y'all are
Yeah.
leaving at 3.
We gotta get out of here at probably 3:30. Head over
Probably.
to the airport.
Yeah. Hopefully
It should be pretty empty
Yeah.
at that time of the morning.
Shouldn't be much rush hour. Got to get gas. for the
330.
car.
No, I don't have to get gas. I prepaid.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Joe.
Just all the keys. Like, I'm done.
that's it. Well, we're going to get packed up. ASOG,
Till next time.
that's it.
I have
Absolutely.
to pack all this up.
You do. Yeah, I've got some stuff I got to take care of.
That trunk's going to be a lot lighter going home.
That's it.
Garbage cans will be
It's okay,
overflowing.
I'll take this home with me.
So, yeah. You guys make sure you go check out the new Ratchet and Wrench article on the technician shortage, and I hope you guys have a
No.
You don't want to.
The
Yeah.
interviewee.
That
Was
was
a
a shameless
Bit
plug
of
for
self-promotion right there.
What's that?
Yes,
that was
of
a
course it
shameless
was.
plug. Also, if you've been listening to anything we talked about this entire weekend, it was
You already heard
repeated again.
At least 4 times.
At least, are you kidding?
Listen,
Bye, ASOG.
absolutely. Do you need to plug the Instagram?
Oh
handle?
yeah, but surely all these people already follow us on YouTube and Instagram.
Hey, why do you say Lucas here when you get on your videos? The only reason I'm seeing it is because I follow Lucas. I know who you are.
There's days I question that. Did you know you have really big teeth?
He has an identity crisis. Remember, it's Mental Health Month.
We're just gonna start flinging mud, are we?
Seriously, I'm sitting here looking. I mean, he's got this big smile on his face. Look.
Where was he? 3 years ago, I made the video in my garage. We did the bit with the big teeth and the cherubic.
I thought you were joking.
Boy, what the hell's the matter with you?
I mean, Scott, am I wrong?
Listen, I'm just saying. I'm just telling you.
The technical term is macrodonture. Is what he has.
I just figured the Southern boy was concentrating on it, going, "Hey, man, you sure got a pretty mouth." And with that, we're done.
But
Thanks,
as
Scott.
As another shameless plug, if any tool manufacturer does want to ship me any tools for beta, as long as you're a little tougher than most, it's good. I'll rave about it. If it sucks, you'll hear about it. Okay, thank you very much.
Boys, had a blast. Thank you.
Absolutely.
thank you.
Thank you.
All
All
right.
right, YouTube. We'll see ya.
Oh, now we're being kicked out. Okay.
Yeah.